I know you wonder, what does agility on the football field have to do with the workplace? Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm, like these two great young women here, I'm an SMU graduate. Yeah, I played football. It was great, right? But the change of coming here, I came here and my parents dropped me off. My mother, as Dr. Austin said, is a retired AT&T AVP. She doesn't give me any money. But my dad was in law enforcement, ex-football player, wanted to be like him. I ended up growing up being like my mother. A lot of change happened while I was here. I met my wife here. Had my daughter my senior year while I was here. Crazy story I have to tell you is, so last year, my daughter graduated from here. She has a master's in cybersecurity. Man, I was so proud, but we were sitting there and I'm like, this is crazy. You remember when we were running around playing one-on-one at Moody Coliseum? That's like, man, that's crazy. It's just totally crazy. And you see your kid walk across the same stage that your wife walked across, that I would have walked across, but I was out playing football, but I graduated, right? So one of the biggest changes that ever happened to me actually happened on this campus. Outside of my wife and my daughter, I got moved from defensive end to defensive tackle. Doesn't really sound really crazy, right? But if you're a back-end developer and I asked you to go do front-end development, how would you feel? You don't want to do that, right, huh? Neither did I, all right? So at that time, 250 pounds, I played defensive end. I thought I was really cool, but I was sharing time with somebody else. New coach comes in, says, hey, we're moving you to defensive tackle. I'm like, no, well, I'm a back-end coder. Why would I want to do front-end work, right? No. Anyway, that was the first time that I really ran into a lot of change. I was driving around this campus and I was like, man, look at all the change that's happened here. As you experience change, you wonder, how can you get through it? Well, I tell you, playing football is just like development, right? It is totally like development. I know you don't believe me, but listen to this story. So when I got moved from defensive end to defensive tackle, I went crazy. But my new coach said, hey, I can teach you how to be who you need to be. I can teach you group of young men how to get where you need to go and get there quickly and efficiently. So I didn't believe him, but I have no choice. Worst thing could happen, I could sit on the bench. I've been on the bench before. So what coach does is, from the spring of my sophomore year to the beginning of that next football season, it's about 3 months. And I know a lot of you are in development. We call that a program increment, right? You come back, you have a business problem that you need to solve, and your business says, hey, we need a resolution for this. My boss says, Vernon, you got 3 months. So what my coach did was took his small defensive line, sound much like a scrum team, huh? 7, 10 people. Took a small defensive line and said, hey, this is what we're gonna do this 2 weeks. Then he came back and said, no, y'all need to work more, right? I like this, don't like that. Do this over, do that over. 2 more weeks, came back. So this goes on throughout this 3-month period. The change blew my mind, right? So considerable psychological impact of the human, yeah, it blew my mind. I was fearful and I was threatened. I thought I was gonna sit on the bench. I didn't think I would ever get a chance to play. By the time we ended spring, I felt a little hopeful, encouraged maybe. By the time we lined up against Arkansas in the Cotton Bowl, I was confident. I knew what we were gonna do. right? We went through a whole PI and we created this minimum viable product, right? Wow. And we went out there, we produced. Surprisingly enough, produced enough to give me a chance to play in the NFL. Nobody thought that when I got here, right? But after the end of the season, I felt pretty good about myself. I was like, hey, I'm good. I don't need nobody to tell me nothing. Coach, I got it. Don't worry about it. He pulled me to the side and he said something that stuck with me the whole time. He said, Vernon, you're never a finished product. It blew my mind. I was all Southwest Conference. I was slated to go in the top 3 rounds of the draft. And he told me, you're never a finished product. As technologists, we're never a finished product. You can't have a fixed mindset and grow like Sid and like Sophia and like Dr. Austin and like many of you in this room. As a leader of multiple development teams, scrum teams, it's hard going into those demos with the clients, right? Because you're already a little bit nervous. Everybody done worked their tail off. You go in there and the client just beats you up. No, this is not what I was asking for. Please go back and do this. Please go back and do that. Kind of defeating, isn't it? But here's the beautiful part about it. When you go back and you fix it and you give them what they like, you see that smile on their face? They're like, no, you gotta be kidding me. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And then we continue to iterate through. Feedback, criticism, not a bad thing. It's actually a great thing. It allows us to continue to grow, much like Sydney said, much like Sophia said. You can't stick to what you know. You gotta always go and figure out what's gonna be the next thing that's gonna allow me to be my best me. I'm a football player. I'm old now. But, I'm a technologist. I run dev teams. We deliver. As we go to meet with clients, I understand what they're looking for. Whatever my boss lays out and says, this is our business objective. This is what we need for us to be the company that my daughter worked for, my mother worked for, Mark, Sophia, Sydney. Oh yeah, we're gonna put it in. You can guarantee you that. So if there's anything that I can leave you guys with is never avoid a challenge. It doesn't matter who you are or what the challenge may be. It means nothing to me. And it shouldn't mean nothing to you. I was inspired by Sophia's story. I was inspired by Sydney's story. I felt like Sydney. I was a nerd. I sat in my room by myself. I was an introvert too. Ask my mom, she's back there somewhere, she'll tell you. If I could tell you anything as you go into the work world, you're never a finished product. You always have to continue to learn. It doesn't matter if the feedback is good or bad, as long as you can learn from it. As long as it's honest feedback, we can take that. We can take that at SMU. We okay. We can take that at AT&T. We okay, because we have a growth mindset here, and I tell you what, none of us in this room will ever be a finished product. We always get better, and man, I love coming here to talk to y'all. Pony up.